At this time, I'd like to call for nominations for a second delegate to the convention, and the floor is open for nominations.
I'd like to nominate Gail Smith.
I'll second that nomination.
It all started when Jane and I were elected to be delegates at this year's convention. I was just beginning to know how my local union worked, so I was pretty nervous about making the big step into the larger convention world.
Thank you. I guess it's you and me.
And then the NSGEU asked me if I would mind them filming the whole thing. And at first I said, I don't think so. But then I thought, well, if it helps newcomers like me, then I should give it a shot.
There once was a union maid. She never was afraid of goons and ginks and company thinks and deputy sheriffs that made the raid. She went to the union hall when a meeting it was called.
Here I am. It's my very first convention, and I don't know anybody here because the other delegate from my local couldn't make it, so I'm the only one. And there are over 200 delegates from all over the province here, so there's a lot of people to meet. I'm a little bit intimidated, but I'm really also very excited. So we'll see what happens. Okay.
Over there. These are all for you, my sweethearts.
Wow.
Reminders inside, and that gives you the proceedings of the convention.
Okay.
Beginning tonight, right into Saturday, and that takes you right up to Election Day.
The convention is in there?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
The main ballroom.
Thanks.
Well, good evening, everyone. Welcome to the NSGEU 2001 convention, NSGEU Making a Difference. We have a lot of work to do over the next 4 days. We have about 47 constitutional amendments, resolutions. We have 14 general resolutions. We have delegates here for the very first time. Welcome.
Hi.
Hi.
I'm Don.
Hi, I'm Gail.
Hi, Gail. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. It's my first time.
Wow, you're in for a good time.
Am I?
Excitement.
Gail, my first time. Hi. So, if I have any questions, can I ask you guys?
You sure can.
Okay. All right, this is the agenda of what's happening.
Yeah, and then you have the list of delegates. We have our Constitution to the back.
Right.
Okay.
Oh, Canada, our home and native land, through patriot love.
Number of observers and guests, 15. Number of staff, 20. Total registration, 272.
And I'll make a motion that we adopt the convention rules of order.
It's been moved by Mike. Do we have a seconder? We have a seconder. All those ready for the question? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Against, nay. Motion's carried.
The 2001 convention will be divided into two parts. Commencing on day 1, May 2nd, a special convention will be convened at 7:30 p.m. to deal only with amendments to the Constitution and bylaws received by the Executive Director at least 60 days prior to convention. Upon conclusion of this business, the special convention will adjourn and the regular convention will be convened.
The special convention is specifically to deal with changes to the Constitution.
19.4.7.4, where more than one nominee receives the
because
same
it's
number
not
of
ordinary.
votes.
For the voting process for the constitutional resolutions, because it requires a 66 2/3, I'm going to be asking for a show of hands, and we won't be doing the yay and the nay because it's too hard to determine if we have the proper amount. So,
John Goss, Local 7.
yes.
I have a question regarding the counting of delegates. There's been a change, obviously, from the circles, and I'm confused to how you determine that we have a quorum.
In the past, we have experienced difficulty with the count.
One of the key issues seems to be quorum, so I want to find out why quorum is so important.
He was asking questions about the quorum because he's worried that we could have 20 people here early in the morning.
Motion's carried.
And if the quorum isn't clear, those 20 people could make decisions on behalf of everybody.
So quorum is a preset number of the delegates who are supposed to be here, who must be here in order for decisions to be made.
I'll ask Ken and the Constitution, Structure and Bylaws Committee to come up front.
I'm Ken Conrad from Local 1670. chairperson of the committee, and also Joan Jessam is the executive liaison to the committee. If we're going to change our structure, then it has to be decided sooner rather than later. The second referral was the committee has been made aware of issues surrounding the sublocal system. The committee recommends that a review of sublocal structure be part of the mandate of the incoming committee.
A lot of this stuff is housekeeping stuff, but now we're getting down to how...
Can you
be quiet, he's non-local.
The resolution is really unclear to me because it's really long and really complicated. Could you briefly just go over the changes from the current constitution?
The civil service has shrunk.
My phone says.
We've been getting, the members of the civil service have been getting older, and a lot of them have been dropping off, and so the composition of the union has changed radically, which is one reason why we're having this particular resolution.
All those in favor signify by show of hands. Those against? Show of hands.
What I've learned so far is a special convention deals with the Constitution, which are the rules of the Union, and it's about amendments to the Constitution, each one being voted on by a hand vote. And it seems basically that the Union is growing and they want to include all their members, so they therefore change a lot of the wording of things. Deborah calls it housekeeping, changing the wording to include all their members.
And you think we're 2/3 of the way through the constitutional, we're over half. Then you get to the fun stuff.
And I've learned a lot of, that there's a lot of jargon that you have to kind of get through and learn about in a short period of time to understand what's going on. But once you get through that, it pretty much makes sense, and it's just repetitive business that goes on through the special convention until you get to the end. We're going to do more tomorrow, so I'll see how much that makes a difference.
Nice jacket.
Excuse me. You're in the committee, in the Constitutional Committee. Can I ask you one question? When something's put forth on the floor, sometimes I might agree with some of it, but not all of it, but I can just vote yes or no. It can't be changed.
I know it's really confusing. I remember my first convention, my head was swimming the entire time. But eventually it does make sense.
But it's basically, it's like you guys write it out, and I either agree with you on agreeing with it or not agreeing with it. Right. But I can't go up and
to
say,
the mic and try to change it.
Yeah, if you reworded it this way, then I'd agree.
The new section 2.7.15 be added to the bylaws to read, election of delegates to Labour Council (CLC), and be it further resolved that the existing 2.715, 2.716, and 2.717 be renumbered as 2.716, 2.717, and 2.718 to reflect the new 2.715.
Show of hands. Against, a show of hands. Carried.
NUPG, right. And we're, as I said, they help us with research and with providing information sharing, and these are the various publications that they put out.
And there are 21,000 members?
Yeah, we are here, but when you put them all together, we're over, 350,000.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so.
Just for everybody's information, once we get down to the legislature...
We're going to the legislature. We're going to support the home support workers on strike. We're going to take our umbrellas and our jackets and show our support. I'm there.
We've already arranged for the home support workers to go in first, but umbrellas are considered a dangerous weapon, and they will not let us in the building with them.
How you find it today?
Good, really enjoying it. Learned a lot from the
Yeah.
Sometimes you have to pay attention though. If you don't follow them, you lose it.
It goes fast, doesn't it? Yeah.
This morning on the convention floor, a motion got passed unanimously that we do a pass-the-hat collection for our co-workers and our members in the labor movement that are on strike. We've got 2 checks here, one for the QP local for $5,259. local for our custodians for $5,059. Thank you for coming out and supporting the 39 home support workers of Queens Local 3885 in the Vancouver.
All those in favor of adjourning the special convention signify by raising your hand. Those opposed, the motion's carried.
I'd like to officially call the NSGEU Biennial Convention 2001 General Convention to order. And I want to thank you for your patience and your comments from the last day and a half when we went through the constitutional resolution. Sometimes those things can be pretty dry, but I think there was some healthy debate and some progress made. Okay, the next item on the agenda is the adoption of the 1999 convention minutes, which you will find in your book under tab that marks convention minutes. We have seconder. Mike 2.
Bob Nokum, Local 9, Civil Servant. I second that.
It's been properly moved and seconded. Are you ready for the question? Questions called for. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Against, nay. Motion's carried. We can do the ayes and nays now. We don't have to do the hands up, so.
As I watched more in the evening last night, I felt more comfortable with it today.
I'm finding it more comfortable today too. Do you feel comfortable to get up on the floor now? And
Oh, no problem.
yeah?
I'll get up. I'll get up and dance. Right?
The amendment they're trying to put in there is contentious to us because it deals specifically with the paramedics.
I have to start to enjoy it more. I feel like I'm understanding more with the more experience I get.
Do you feel like you're more of an activist now than you were when you
Yes, I
started?
am definitely more of an activist now.
When there's a lot of debate, it's really easy for first-time delegates to understand. And as the debate continues, they get to understand why the change is important or shouldn't be done.
I've been at every convention probably the past 20 years.
Well, it only took a year or two for me to figure out who my friends are, and it wasn't the employer. So I've been coming to conventions for probably 10 or 12 years.
Bernie and I were instrumental in forming this union.
Have you been to the convention before?
No.
You're new too? I'm new too. So my local, for instance, if it had a concern through me, I could make a resolution?
Well, at local meetings, you decide what resolutions that you would want to bring forward at convention, and they have to be submitted to the office 60 days prior to convention.
Why is that?
Well, it's just the organizing it, like a committee has to meet. We have to make decisions on, well, whether we're going to be in concurrence with the resolution or in non-concurrence. But there is a process also that if there was something that came up after the cutoff and you wanted to put it forth, you certainly could. You could make an extraordinary resolution and it would be passed on convention floor whether or not we would entertain
I could bring it with me
certainly could.
Today.
Yes, you could have.
Okay, I've learned that resolutions come from the delegates. They go through the resolution committee. They have to be sent 60 days prior to the convention. But any local that has a concern through their delegate can make a resolution to change policy. I'm getting this. And it goes through the committee, and they look at the resolution, and they decide whether they agree with it or not when they've done all their research on it. And they put it on the floor at the convention, and then everybody can vote on it. So I could take one from my local and send it to the committee, and we could talk about it at the convention. I could get up in front of the mic and give my point of view if I wanted to.
There are some days when I feel the fight will never be over for public sector workers in Nova Scotia, but there are many more days when I've seen firsthand how we can and fight and win when we do it together. The NSGEU has proven itself to be a force to be reckoned with, and we're not about to give up now. We're not going to back down, not ever. Thank you. Mike 8.
Gail Smith, Local 80. I'd like a point of clarification. I just wondered if a resolution can be amended from the floor?
Under the resolutions, the general resolutions, which are the ones that we're dealing with today, all of those resolutions can be amended, and then the amendment would have to be voted on first, and then you would vote, if it's passed, on the amended resolution.
Good morning, brothers and sisters.
Good morning.
I'd like to welcome you here on behalf of the Resolutions Committee. And be it further resolved that the Scholarship and Bursary Committee budget be increased by $1,000 to cover the establishment. On behalf of the committee, I move non-concurrence, seconded by Mark Childs.
It's been properly moved and seconded. Rationale?
The rationale is that we presently provide significant amount of money for bursaries and scholarship to members.
Mike, number 2.
I have to rise and speak against this motion of non-concurrence. We're talking about $1,000 to the membership for education.
Bev Hiscock, Local 10 Civil Service. I speak in support of the motion of non-concurrence, but for a different reason than you actually gave.
It was just like, where's the guidelines? There aren't any.
You ready for the question? Questions called for. You're voting in non-concurrence with the committee's recommending. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Against, nay? Nay. Carried. Chairperson of the committee.
Resolution R-01.
And you're both on the Women's Committee?
No, I'm not
You're
on
not?
the Women's Committee. I just support women's issues.
Okay.
I was on the Women's Committee when it was first formed. 2 conventions ago. Not this convention, but the convention before. It was,
Are you just on for 2 years?
Only on for 2 years, yeah.
Oh, okay.
You're elected by, well, you are elected to a committee pool, and then that goes to the board of directors, right?
Yes.
And then they choose people from each region to sit on provincial committees. So, it was a very, very interesting committee to sit on.
Do you not feel that there should be some overlap over the years so that each committee doesn't...
There can be. And I think on the Women's Committee there are some people that are sitting on it this time that were on it the first time as well.
I think the executive and the board try to do that with all the committees. Try to see that there's some overlap, so you get the history as well as the new issues coming in.
Good afternoon, sisters and brothers. I'd like to introduce my committee. I'm going to just read highlights of my report and submit it.
First off, I'd like to introduce myself. I'm Roy LeBlanc. I'm chairperson of the Social Recreation Committee from Local 9.
I'd like to start off by introducing my committee, and if they would stand as I read their name.
What I'd like to do today, or say today, is I urge all the delegates, the members in NSGU, to put a real extra effort into fighting Bill 20, because
The first reading of that bill has taken place. They're debating it.
We do need a motion to adjourn for 1 hour.
So moved.
It gives me great pleasure today to welcome you Dr. Elaine Bernard.
Hey, hey, whoa, whoa!
Dane Percy is going to be in charge of the elections, and what we're going to do is take you through the process, and then I think we might break so that everybody gets a bathroom break and a coffee break, and then we'll come back in the hall and do the speeches and then the elections.
So the executive committee, in terms of the governing body, is at the top?
They would be, well, they would govern in between board meetings. The board would govern between conventions, but in between board meetings, then the executive would carry out the policies and goals of the union.
She has chosen
I guess we would have to stop, find out what's happening next.
Yeah. And before the elections begin, I think we'd all like to wish the candidates best of luck.
thank you for the experience of the past 2 years.
It gives me great pleasure to
Stand before you this morning.
This union needs new voices.
I hope I still have some voice left.
I don't believe in long speeches.
Je me présente et je vous demande votre support.
I would like to take this opportunity. It is my true thoughts, my beliefs, and how I feel.
So I've heard some of the speeches, and I think I've made up my mind for this one. So I'm going to go in and I'm going to vote and see who wins.
Could I get a transfer, please?
Just to verify that you cast in the first vote. Now what do I do? You go in behind the screen, cast your ballot in the box, write the name of the person you want to vote for.
Could I have all the officers come up front, please?
And I will entertain a motion of adjournment. Okay, all those in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Against, nay. Have a great 2 years.
I have 3 personal pieces of advice for the new delegates. Number 1, I'd say wear comfortable marching shoes, because you never know when this group is going to get up and march down to Province House with their umbrellas and cause a ruckus. Number 2, drink lots of water, because you never know when you're going to be yelling down there at Province House, and it takes a lot of energy. Get lots of sleep. And I think my 3rd piece of advice is, no matter how shy you are, introduce yourself around. Tell them you're a new delegate. Ask questions. These guys are so great. You can approach anybody and they'll talk to you and they'll answer your questions. I've learned that the structure of the whole union is very democratic, although complicated. And it's up to us, all the members, to make the union what we want it to be.
Oh, you can't scare me. I'm sticking to the union. I'm sticking to the union. I'm sticking to the union. Oh, you can't scare me. I'm sticking to the union. I'm sticking to the union till the day I die.